السلام عليكم. النهارده لقائنا مع نيتيف دين. زي ما انتم شايفين احنا في احد المناطق المحيطه بالعاصمه واشنطن، منطقه تسمى هيرندن، تعتبر المناطق الهاديه. الجو هنا برد شويه. شارع يسمى فلوريدا. ده بيت احد اعضاء الفرقه، بيت نعيم. ناخدكم مع بعض كده ونروح نشوف النهارده فرقه نيتيف دين في علامه جديده من علاماتنا النهارده، واعتقد ان كثير من شبابنا مستنيينها عشان نعرف بالظبط قصتهم وازاي كونوا الفرقه وازاي قدروا يحققوا اللون الجديد ده في مجتمع كان المفترض فيه ان يكون كل من يعلن هذه الفكره وهذه الرساله يعتبر موصوم بتهمه ما. I'm not afraid to stand alone. الكلمة دي اللي هم أعلنوها واللي جذبت 3/4 المشاهدين في العالم العربي بالجملة المشهورة اللي قالوها في الأغنية بتاعتهم I'm not afraid to stand alone. خلينا نروح نشوف دلوقتي نيتيف دين وانتم معانا. يلا اطلع.
I am not afraid to stand alone. I am not afraid to stand alone. If Allah's by my side, I am not afraid to stand alone. Everything will be alright. I am not afraid to stand alone. Gonna keep my head up high. I'm not afraid to stand alone. If Allah's by my side, everything will be alright. Gonna keep my head up.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. وأخيرا اللقاء مع نيتيف دين. نيتيف دين اتعرفت على قناة 4Shbab. هي طبعا معروفة من قبل 4Shbab، لكن كانت 4Shbab كنا لنا فخر ان احنا اول ما قدمناها للعالم العربي من خلال كليب مميز جدا الكل يمكن عارفه، والكليب كان طالع معانا الاول في التشارت بتاعت الاغاني على مدار فترة طويلة. I'm not afraid to stand alone. قدمنا لهم كمان My Intention و Good Deeds، وقدمنا لهم رمضان. في رمضان اللي فات كان برضو الحقيقة كانت حاجة هايلة جدا. كان ليهم لون مميز وقدموا لون أعتقد إن كثير من شبابنا في العالم العربي كان محتاج إن هو يحس بيه ويسمعه. خلونا النهاردة نبدأ نتعرف معاهم على رحلتهم. إحنا أعضاء الفرقة معانا جوشوا وعبد المالك ونعيم. طبعا يعني في داتا على كل واحد، أنا حابب أكتر إن إحنا نسمعها منهم من فرقة نيتيف دين. فخلونا نبدأ. جوشوا، السلام عليكم جميعا.
السلام ورحمة الله.
Joshua, let's start from the beginning. I'm going to ask you about each one individual, and then you're going to tell me the story of Native Deen, how you became Native Deen together.
The official story.
There's another story? No, I don't need anything official in this interview. Okay, everything is natural. Joshua, you were born in 1973.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so of course I have a lot of information about you, but I'd like to hear it from yourself. You moved for a lot of cities.
Yeah.
Okay, you started while you were 10.
I did. I made my first rap when I was 10 years old. I remember it. I was so excited about it. I went to my martial arts instructor and I said, listen to this. And I went to my family members and I was saying it in the back of the car. And just by people's reaction, maybe they were just patting me on the back because I was only 10 years old. It gave me some confidence to keep going. And when I joined Muslim Youth of North America, MINA, I started trying out, performing and things like that.
I realized that in your all stories you started at this early age. Is it natural among your society that kids in this age make rhythm and make rap and something?
I think so. I think, especially in our lifetime, just that was the language of youth, and it was a music that wasn't like our older brothers and sisters didn't have it. Our parents didn't have it. So this was like our generation's way of expressing themselves. And of course, since it was something new and energetic, and everyone wanted to do it. And I think, young people and just, I guess even just artistic people would like to find ways to express themselves. And, maybe some people use like paint or they draw, or maybe kids do graffiti or whatever. We happen to be rappers at the time. So it wasn't anything strange at all. And even today, like nowadays kids, you'll find them in a huddle and and they'll be freestyling or just coming right off at the top of their heads, or maybe they have something that's already written and they come and bring it, and then and people share it. So
Yeah. So you started at 10. At 12, you joined MENA, Muslim Youth. I think both. All of you
Yes.
joined MENA. It seems MENA was, let's say, the cradle that.
Cradle, yeah.
Yeah.
It was definitely a platform. You had active listeners. You had,
What's MENA? MENA, is it an organization? Is it musical organization or
No,
what?
it's not a musical organization. It's a youth group. It's a
Youth group.
national youth group organization. So you had youth coming from all 50 states. You had youth coming down from Canada, and they were all coming in one
In a
location.
festival or something?
No, for Islamic youth conference.
Oh,
So
okay.
we would have
Learning about
educational lectures every day. We would have sports. We would have different things to build brotherhood and sisterhood. And at the end of every camp, there was entertainment. And we looked forward to going to this camp for years. And really, I think when somebody writes about the history of the Muslim community in America, MENA is going to be a huge part of that, because we had so much networking going on that we didn't even know was happening. Now we each know hundreds, if not thousands, of people because of MENA, and we grew up together. Now we have lawyers and doctors and congressmen and this and that from
MENA.
our childhood. Yeah.
In 20, you formed the Sons of Crescent.
Yeah.
Yeah, what was it?
Sons of the Crescent was my it's when I was frustrated with MENA. I just it was proximity. I was living in Indianapolis, Indiana then. And I was part of the first Men of Raps album, and then I had kind of moved away, and these guys took over the project, and they had Men of Raps 2, Men of Raps 3, Men of Raps 4. I had no idea what was going on until I moved back with these brothers for Men of Raps 5. So when I was in Indianapolis, I befriended a guy named Yassine, and we started a rap group called Sons of the Crescent, and we started
but
performing.
that was your first name, right? It was
Oh yeah, I mean, Muslims stepping up.
MSU. That's
MSU.
right.
Muslims stepping up.
We went
Yeah.
through a couple names, right? Or just two.
No, that's it. Muslims stepping up, and then
Sons of the
Sons of the Crescent.
Okay, you're a conga player. What's conga?
I am a conga player. That's the official story.
It's a monkey.
I
From the Congo.
From the conga.
awesome.
what happened was I never played the congas. I always played. When we were growing up in MENA, the Muslims are pretty strict about what type of instruments are you going to use, especially when we were coming up 20 years ago and things like that. What are they playing? What are they doing? How are they moving on stage? So sometimes we would just have a table, and we're banging on the table, making beats.
Can you make it in the
Yeah, of course. That's Then we start rapping. Come on, Naeem, let's, And then that was our performance. So when we started performing, I had a little tabla, and we were playing. And then I said, this doesn't look right. We need to get some better instruments. So we bought some congas. And I started playing them just like I was playing the table.
Yeah, the
People
same.
thought I was a conga player, but I'm
It's written in your site, so you have to you have to do something
I guess
about
I'm
that.
gonna keep that written on our site.
He didn't say he was a good conga player.
He just said he was
played
a
them.
conga.
Plays conga. Okay, say we transfer to Abdul Malik. Born was in 1975.
Yes.
You're the youngest.
I'm the youngest, am I?
Yeah,
Yes.
because I
I'm the
think
youngest.
Naim also
Right, Naim is
1973.
75.
75 as well.
I'm not as old as him.
Really?
I'm the oldest.
Slightly older than him.
He looks the oldest. I'm the
Yes. yes.
Hey, man,
I look the youngest.
what do you mean, yeah? Interview is finished.
اوكي يعني متهيألي انتوا تحكموا يا جماعه مين شكله اكبر في العديد. الحمد لله. Anyway,
You're older by like a few months, right?
Yeah, I was born in June, and he was
December.
December.
when Abdullah ibn Abbas were asked who's older, you or the Prophet, he said he's older, but I was born before him. Al-Abbas ibn Abdul Muttalib. He said that he's an older, but I was born before him, because he was shy to say that he was an older. Abdul Malik, he was in Georgetown University.
I think he was, yeah.
You studied Arabic,
I studied Arabic, yes.
so we can interview in Arabic.
شوي أنا أنسى.
Okay. You spent, I think, some years in the Middle East.
I spent, actually, it was about a half of a year. I spent in Egypt. I
In
was
Egypt. Mm.
For about 6 months, 5-6 months, and
Studying Arabic?
Studying Arabic, and it was actually a program where from my school is a, what do you call it, exchange program kind of thing. I went over there and I studied for 5 months there.
At that time, you were rapping?
In fact, I was. I went there, and I've met some people there, and there was actually some people who spoke English well at the university that I was studying, and they found out that I could do some rap or something, and I started doing some songs and stuff that I did. And actually, one of the songs that Unknown Future, I was working on it while I was in there, and I went to my friends that I met in Egypt, and they gave me some, advice about, how I should take the direction of the song. So, yeah.
Have you listened to any Middle Eastern music or art?
Of course. If you were to ask me like what my favorite artist is, I don't listen to it in that detail, but
no, I'm not
definitely.
But the style of the
yes, yes. And I think the music that we all listen to from the Middle East and Nasheed that we've listened to when we were growing up in Minna, and it affects our music. It actually influences a lot of the music that we
At that time, when you were in Minna, and even for you, Joshua, you were listening to Nasheed coming from the Arab world?
No, that was his part of the interview. I was listening to Motown.
Have you?
I was, yeah. I mean, when we were young, we obviously had the music that we had around us 24/7. We would listen in the stores, on the radio. That's the normal. But then we also were interested in finding a Islamic music, and there was not any at that time. In 1980s, there was not that many. There was only maybe Cat Stevens, one song. It's for Allah.
You mean in English and in American? Because in Arab world it was already there.
Right, in the Arabic words it was there. Yes.
Yeah.
But in English.
In English.
African American groups, but they weren't known.
Yeah, there was a few. I think, there was a few here and there.
Yeah, and I think, just kind of the story of it too is in those early days, there really wasn't a real mechanism for people to really, even if there were like really great singers who Muslims were writing and stuff like that, they would be in their city. And you wouldn't know them unless maybe they were in Detroit or Philadelphia. Unless you traveled to an event that was in Detroit or Philadelphia, you wouldn't know about them. Or maybe, and in the same
but
thing
in this conference, you wouldn't gather and meet.
But at Minna, that's what made it such a platform.
Okay. The connections
you had everybody come from all over this place, and a kid, he's like, hey, I heard this guy, he's so good, his name's Joshua, and I was, even though he lives in Indiana, I live in like Ohio, but I heard him, he burned the place down, But
he did well that night.
We don't burn anything.
Anyway, he whatever. But like, in those early days, I can remember it was always like a search for different songs. I think in the early days, especially since we didn't speak Arabic, it would just be a bunch of chanting for us, and then maybe we hear La ilaha illallah and everybody gets excited, The other thing that was popular in those early 80s with hip hop, like when you had, because a lot of the rappers, the same way a lot of jazz musicians were becoming Muslim because their travels to the Middle East and they're learning about Islam, and they're learning that African Americans descended primarily from places where Muslims were predominant in parts of Africa. Learning about that, they wanted to incorporate those things in their life. So you have people changing their names and learning and trying to have these Arabic sounding names. And anytime you hear someone, in a rap, like they mention like an Arabic word, the kids would just go bananas because it was just something that was kind of reassuring. This was before, like I said again, before there was a minute rap, so before there was tapes going around with CDs of kids rapping about Islam and different things like that. But these were what was the prelude to all of that? These little sprinkles of Islam in the music. And you also got to imagine that, like our parents, they grew up they grew up Christian, but they had they grew up from a religious tradition that used music as a way of expressing faith.
Yeah, the church.
So that's in our culture too, is just as African American anyway. Now we're Muslim. Now these kids are Muslim. So what are they going to do now? They're going to express themselves
Through music.
through music, their faith, the things that they have. So so that's kind of the evolution of it. When you look at it. But again, like you said, there wasn't, you know, there may have been some guy far off, but then Minna Raps came, you know, at least for us. And that gave kids across the country a platform. They would send their songs in and okay, yeah, we can get you on, but you got to get all the way over here to get on the CD or the tape. Well, the tape back then was a CD. But and that kind of really pushed it in the U.S. as far as English, nasheed, and Islamic songs. Minna Raps is what really put that on the map and made it accessible for many people.
Adonai, when you started to rap?
When did I start to rap? I remember the first rap. I think I must have been maybe 10 years old. I did one about.
You remember?
It was just for school. No, I don't remember it.
You don't remember?
It was. I had to.
He does remember it probably, but he doesn't want a 10-year-old rap.
It was. It was something about a school project that I had to do. So instead of like doing an essay, I thought I'd do it like a poem, right?
Oh,
And
really?
it was kind of a rap. Everything rhymed. You know, it was about, I think, Benjamin Franklin or something.
Really?
So that was like the very first one. And
You
then
didn't tell him about Benjamin
You really
it was a school project.
I
I don't remember it. I don't remember it. I don't even think
Franklin had a kite. He was flying
Yeah,
a kite.
it was something like that. It was like that. But then I think what really influenced me, he's laughing, but it's true.
That's the subtitle. Laughing.
I think when in Minna, I met people, for example, like Joshua. I saw Joshua; he was doing his thing, and I was like, "Wow, this is cool! I can do this, and I can do it in an Islamic way." And it opened my eyes, and then I started writing a lot more.
Probably that dance.
No,
That's what
that's kind of cool because we were, even though, like he said, we kind of, well, mainly the Molotov project, but we were consumers of that first Minna Raps album. You know, me and Abdul Malik, you know, we bought it like everybody else did. And we were just kids.
Were listening to it.
Who were in this first album?
It was Josh.
Josh.
And
So you were a star at that time.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Unknown.
No.
It was him, and it was a couple other brothers who were. But I think Josh and the other brother Yassine.
Yeah,
were
their
the
part
ones
was
who
the
stood
standout. They were the
stood
standout.
out.
Yassine, this Iraqi
Yassine
singer?
was his.
No, this is
From the
his
Sons of the
Sons of the Crescent.
Oh, okay. Okay, so
You're getting all the history. You're getting the
details.
yes, exactly.
Stuff that
We are
people
documenting now. No, it's very important because I really like the young people to feel that there is an initiation for everything. Nothing just comes like that by luck.
that's the main story.
Yeah, everything comes with it. And now we are moving to Naim. Because also I have a very interesting thing in Naim's story. Because,
Criminal history.
yeah, I found out.
nervous.
No, I think you're
Pull
from
this one out the red folder.
stamp it or
Exactly.
classified. Because what's interesting to me that you came from an artist family.
Yeah.
Your father was an artist, was a painter,
Yeah.
and your mother was attending an art school, art classes. And now tell me about this growing up in an artist family. How was it?
I mean, I think that was the blessing for me, I guess, was, you know, like I said, my father was a painter. And like, even my mom, all her brothers and sisters there can draw. I had an uncle.
Seven brothers and sisters?
Yeah, well, I have seven. My mom, yeah. Man, you know. Brothers and sisters there can draw. I had an uncle.
Seven brothers and sisters?
Yeah, well, I have seven. My mom, yeah. Man, you know a lot, bro.
Yeah.
We can.
I forgot about it.
Yeah, so my mom has 7 brothers and sisters. They're all like really talented painters. Uncle plays flute. So
Yeah,
we had all
it's,
this, and but also my mom had a real interesting love for music, and literally, for her, that's one of the things that kind of brought her to Islam. Because again, like I was talking about those jazz musicians.
This was actually my question. I've read that you all grew up. Oh, okay.
It's okay.
It's okay.
You want me to pick it? I get it.
No. Stay as you are and
Camera roll, keep camera rolling.
keep rolling. Keep
This is
everything
part of the
rolling.
excitement, the fireworks.
Yeah, because actually we let our people see what we're doing
There you go.
to convince them that we're not cutting anything.
There you go.
What's happening here is actually what you're seeing.
Actually happening.
Yes. You all grew in Islamic houses, Islamic homes. Your parents, they converted or they converted?
All converted.
You witnessed this moment? Any one of you?
No, because we were born.
You were
We were
born.
all born Muslim.
But
so.
you know their stories?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I know my mother's story. She was raised Catholic,
Yeah?
and then started having questions that would be responded with by a ruler on the hand. If she asked the wrong question, because Catholic schools were kind of strict at that time.
Yeah.
She moved away from that, started studying and reading into a whole lot of things. She was very studious, and then got attracted to the Nation of Islam in the
Nation of Islam.
in the '60s, late '60s,
But-
because it was it kind of uplifted a lot of African Americans and gave them clean cut, put them in suits. It was something to be proud of.
She met Malcolm X or she
I don't know if she ever met Malcolm X, but because she was living in New Jersey at that time.
Yeah.
Maybe. And then that started sounding weird to her. She said some things were happening she didn't like, and that's when she got exposed to mainstream Islam. So that was her evolution.
And
That's not everybody's
same?
story, though.
For you?
My is similar story. My mother and my father were they were both Christian, and they were both searching. My father was searching. He went through different different religions, other faiths, Buddhism even, and then he the Nation of Islam again. It was as a shining light for African Americans,
Yeah.
helping them to better themselves. And after that, in 1975, the year I was born, he accepted what was called the mainstream Islam, or more of the accepted.
He took the
Islamic
Shahada?
Islam. Yeah.
Okay. And for you, like?
Well, like I said, my mom, we had like a total. I mean, not even with the nation and stuff. My mom, she started to read about, again, I was saying, the history of African Americans and how they had, history of Islam. And she started actually cover and different things and do the things that made her feel closer to that African heritage. And also she was really into, like I said, jazz music, and a lot of these musicians were coming back from the Middle East and said they embraced Islam, and the little peeks into it. They really didn't have a lot of knowledge about it, but it piqued her interest. So she started to read it, and one day she went to a bookstore, and she had a choice, and they had two books on Islam, and one was like mainstream Islam, and one was on like Sunni Islam, or just mainstream Islam, and one was on the Nation of Islam. And my mom wanted the one on mainstream Islam, and even though the guy was trying to convince her, no, sister, this the one you want right here, and she said, no, I'm pretty sure that's not what I want. And she started to read and learn more, and then she went to the masjid and took shahada.
I think it's amazing though, like for all of our, it's you know how some people, they go through phases, they try out this, they try out one religion, but for all of the parents and a lot of people, once they see the beauty of Islam, that's it.
You guys represent the first generation of Muslim children.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is great. So that means that you're starting your renaissance here.
We have some second generation.
Yeah, I got to meet Musa and Harun now. It's part of the meeting with Musa and Harun. Okay, yeah, so Naeem, when you start to rap?
When did I start rapping? I mean, I guess I was a kid in the 80s that just like, when, like, again, I always like those things that are kind of like not so mainstream anyway, that are a little different. Hip hop was that at that time in the 80s. Like, I can even remember kids like used to come over the house and their parents wouldn't let them listen to rap music. Like, you can't listen to that. And I had my little tapes and stuff like that. And even my mom, she understood the need for us as youth to have it. She even thought, like, she said, Naeem, I don't know if it's going to last. But she understood the need for me as a young person to have my own way of expressing myself. So we used to do little, like, not like writing myself at that point, but just rhyming whatever, you know, the popular rappers were at that time and just saying their stuff in the backyards and with all my friends and doing that thing. But one day, I also went to Islamic school from 5th until graduation. And my buddy Kareem, his dad, he knew we were all into rap, and he said, okay, I want you guys to write a rap. And he taught our Islamic studies class, and he was like, I want you to write a rap for Ramadan. And we were like, maybe like, it's again, like maybe like 10, 11, something like that.
You remember?
And I do, but I don't want to because... But for 10 years old, it was good for 10 years old because we wrote it up on a board, right? So it kind of went, you know, Ramadan is a time to fast. And we're like, yeah, okay, welcome in. It's a hard task that you have to pass. Yeah, okay, what else next? Then we are the class that will pass because we're in class. We are the class that pass, and we did the whole thing. We did that part. And then, but when it came to the second part, I wrote most of my own verse because we basically wrote the first verse together, and that was my buddy Kareem's part. But then the second part, I pretty much wrote that on my own. And then we would perform it. We would like perform it at the school, like, and that was the one thing the school understood that these kids needed to express themselves too, and they used to write songs and stuff for us to do, and we used to do like school plays and stuff. And later on, I wrote up one on Eid, like after that, on my own, without any provocation with anybody else, because I started to really enjoy it. And then I don't know, I just kept on writing, and because music was a really big part of, I guess, me growing up, at least.
In 2000, you formed the Native Deen. So can anyone tell me the story of it, the non-official story?
The non-official story?
Yeah.
I think the first time we performed was here in this area of Virginia. It was at
Adams Center.
Adams Center,
Is it
the old location.
No, before forming it, how you guys met and you decided to make a band or something?
Well, remember we had met in the MENA youth groups.
Okay.
Right? And so we knew each other. You know, we were joining on entertainment together, and there was, you know, a long time between 1992 and 2000 where we were going to these.
You met in 1992.
No, I think I met them in maybe 94.
Well, me and Abdullah, we met each other. We were like camp buddies since like '89.
In '89, me and him, before.
We were
us two, and then
you met.
Before 92. 92 was the first minute rap, so I graduated in 91. So.
No, so it probably like early in like 90, 91. We probably met Josh at a camp like when we traveled like to.
It was in Ohio.
Yeah. Like we traveled because basically we were in the East Coast. He's like in the middle of the country in Indiana. So, and then they had these camps where they would have these like the continental camps where Canada, people from America all came together. And that's when we kind of met Josh. And that's when we like, you know, we were going to that camp listening to MENA raps, you know. And that's when we met, that's Josh from, you know, from MENA raps. And, you know, and our friend was on it too, like our buddy Zubayd. And he's driving up to camp with us, you know, and stuff like that. So, but in that time, I guess in that span of time, there were bigger conferences and conventions beyond MENA put on by other organizations, and Josh would do entertainment maybe by himself, or I would back up Abdul Malik, or I'd do something on my own,
and then y'all would walk out on me and stuff like that.
No. So then they was like, okay, cool, we'll do that, and then. And that felt kind of good. And I think one time they took like a road trip to like Florida.
Yeah.
And
I remember that trip.
They did a show together, like drove to Florida all the way from DC area. And
I almost missed that trip. I remember. I passed it was North Carolina to pick you up. I passed North Carolina. I forgot to exit. I was just driving. And then I had to turn around.
How far you get? You get to South Carolina?
I think I got to South Carolina. Then I had to turn around.
Ladies and gentlemen,
this is stuff you don't get on the website.
No,
yes.
Not even in that background check.
Not at the record.
You didn't know that one.
But
I have to go
started
to
to feel like a group after perform. You know, we gradually started performing together, and people didn't know what to introduce us as, and we didn't know what to introduce ourselves as. So people say, "Ladies and gentlemen, Minna Raps. You know, we come on stage and we perform, and so after that happened for maybe like a year, we decided to get on. I don't know if it was a year, but we got on the computer and came up with the name Native Deen.
Why choose this name, Native Deen?
I guess, I mean, it translates as in Arabic as Deen al-Fitra.
Yeah,
right?
I know.
But I think it has two meanings. One, the native Deen, that we are natives here in America. You know, we're born here. As you said, you know, our
first
parents
generation.
were here. This is our country, so it's the native Deen, the Deen that's native to us. You know, and also the native Deen al-Fitra, the Deen that is native to all human beings. You know, when people are born, you know, they are born as Muslims. And then their parents, you know, makes them Jewish, Christian, all these other things. You know, the hadith of the Prophet. So, I guess so. That's basically encompasses the name, Native Deen.
And you started from 2000?
Started from 2000 and
You made 3 albums, or 2 albums, and now you're working on the 3rd.
yeah, and in the beginning, we just kind of were, maybe like the first year or two, we were doing like all Minna Raps tracks or stuff on our own without a CD. You know, so
We didn't come up with our first album until 5 years later.
Really?
2005 was the first album.
No, we did
2007 was the
we did Minna Raps 5 first. We
That's
did
Native Deen?
we did.
What? Then that would be. Then we're on our 3rd album. I mean, our 4th album.
Okay, we did. Okay, let me tell you. I'm trying to give you the story.
Yes.
And by the way, first off, can you
It's
know
really
this?
nice to
Can I
hear
tell you
from
this
3
much?
of you, because I'm getting anything.
First off, you can't trust this guy's memory.
Really?
He won't remember you tomorrow.
Because he's the oldest or what?
Because all that. Exactly. This guy's memory. I have the memory in the band. Okay.
Yes, so
you
we have to
you
give
have
him
the
that.
memory card here.
Yeah, I'm
It
the
is
memory
true.
card.
It is true.
So basically, we did the Minna Raps 5. That was the last Minna Raps ever to date. And inshallah, hopefully they'll continue the project. We came together, and even if you look on the label, it says featuring
Native Deen? Really?
Oh,
I have it there.
I thought
If you really
you
want to
did.
check.
This was 2005?
Yeah.
No, this was that one 2000.
No.
That was closer to maybe 2000,
2000, yeah.
Around 2002.
So-
Because remember we went to UK
we
and
went
we
to England,
toured, we toured on that.
Yeah, exactly.
What was the first tour you met? You
The UK.
made?
Remember when we went with Mountain of Light?
The first real tour was in 2002.
No, it was well, we weren't with Mountain of Light.
We were by
It
ourselves.
was
at
before
point.
that, and they discovered us while we were there.
When you were the first time you performed on the stage as Native Deen?
Wow, memory man.
Okay, the first time we performed, and because they put us together, was like he said at this Adams Center.
Yeah, when the
There was a
presenter said,
family-
now it's Native Deen.
Yeah, exactly.
No,
but they
Adams
still weren't
Center
saying
wasn't.
Native Dean. They weren't saying that. But we were a group. I don't know. But I think
Because this
definitely
is
by the
officially
time
declared
by the
that we
time
are
we were in
group, yeah.
2000, by the time in 2002 we were in England,
Yeah.
we were Native Dean.
Yeah.
And the name, because I can remember being backstage when they like, are you guys ready for Minna Raps? And I was like, Native Dean, you know, like,
Right.
hey, are they Native Dean? So by that 2002, that's on that tour, that's when we were really like, we kind of had an outfit going. And
And that's
had a
funny because we were
look
pushing
and
that brand
everything.
and didn't nobody know what Native Deen was. They're like,
Yeah.
Native Deen, where's Minna Rap? We want some Minna Rap.
Yeah, exactly.
Native Deen.
Well, why'd you guys stop
Why
Minna
didn't you
Raps?
take this name, Minarap?
We didn't take it. Actually, there
That
was a
was good.
sister. You know, this is what I tell people all the time is that you might see 3 brothers here, but it was the concept came from a sister who was saying, we have this entertainment every year, but why wait until we come to Minna? Let's put this together and package it and call it Minna Raps. And so she kind of coordinated it, and people came together, and we went to the studio, and it happened. You know, so inshallah she's getting some of the rewards from it as well.
So you worked as a professional musical group. You have an agent and you have a recording label or something? Or when that
We don't
time?
have a label now. We are our own label now. We're kind of working independently. But like you said, in 2002, when we went to, it was funny when we went to England, and they didn't know us. Well, a lot of people didn't know us, but it was weird for us because it was our first time in England, and as we're singing, people are singing the songs with us.
They knew all the songs.
And we didn't know how they knew the songs or anything. So when it was time to start selling the merchandise after the show, there was another organization on our left with a subsidiary of Use of Islam. It's called the Jamal Records.
I know Americans.
And so they saw a crowd next to our table behind CDs, and they were like, who is this group? You know? So they ended up talking with us and said, would you be interested in working with us? And so the first Native Deen album called Deen You Know was released under Jamal Records.
That was in
2005. When it
2005.
came out.
This was the first.
Yeah.
First official
Album.
under our name, Native Deen.
Right.
2005.
2005. 2007 is the second album. I am not afraid to stand alone. And
Yes.
who knows what the third one will be. We'll
Inshallah.
have to do another interview for that.
Yeah.
The interview for that, man.
But don't you think it's not that you have to make more albums in this 5 years or what?
Yeah.
Definitely.
What's
Yeah.
going on, man? Get to work.
I mean, in
No.
5 years, just 2 albums, isn't it just few or what?
That's a good question.
I don't agree. I don't agree because I think right now because the way the market is, at least here, I mean maybe not in the Middle East, in the U.S. there really isn't a real distribution chain and network to get people's stuff out there. I mean we're probably, as far as the Muslims who would consider themselves in this genre of music, we probably get our stuff out better than most groups.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's a lot of work and it's still not where we want it to be. So it takes in this genre about at least 2 years for you to get real traction on an album. You know, you have it out for 2 years, and you start touring on it, and then you start selling it, and it takes a little bit for it to get around. Now we've been living with these tracks for longer than that, so it usually 2 years. You know, my kids were listening to demos of this stuff for 4 years. You know, so.
We're tired of it.
But
Tell me usually how you make a song. I mean, how when you start to make the song, who make the lyrics and who make the?
It's all different. I mean, we all have different methodologies.
Yes,
we all right though.
you're right. And how it goes?
Why don't you say how you go do it?
I have to be in the shower. No paper and pen. And typically a melody or a beat comes to my head, and then I'll start trying to put words to it, and then I may come up with 2 lines,
Yeah.
and then it sounds good, and I'll say those 2 lines for a week or so, and then another line will come to me, and then when I start feeling like I have a song, then I'll start writing it down. That's how I do it.
So for you, Malik.
For me, a lot of times, a lot of times I have a concept in my head.
It starts
Sometimes-
with the concept.
Sometimes, it's usually like, okay, I really want to write something about such and such, you know? And then I start thinking about a melody, you know, okay, what would be a good melody? Sometimes I might hear a melody or something in my head, and then I was like, okay, I got to merge this concept with this really good melody, and then I start writing. A lot of times on the computer.
You work separately. You don't share this as a workshop together.
No, we do. We share ideas with each other, you know.
Because
And sometimes
you
we sit
usually
down.
sing it together. So
But I mean, but it grows. I mean, this has been a process. You gotta
Yeah.
imagine, like, because the Men of Raps days, and even I would even believe even almost our first project, first time we recorded that Men of Raps 5, we were all solo artists. So we came, especially in that Men of Raps 5, we came to the studio like, this is how I sound. You don't have a right to say anything. You know, everybody like this is the song. Okay, cool.
but you are
It's like-
singing it together.
Yeah, but still, it was like at that point, that's how a solo artist is. He comes in with his stuff and boom. So then, as we started to grow together as a band, you know, it's easier with some, and they'll probably tell you, okay, cool.
But you are
It's like-
singing it together.
yeah, but still, it was like at that point, that's how a solo artist is. He comes in with his stuff and boom. So then, as we started to grow together as a band, you know, it's easier with some, and they'll probably tell you I'm the worst of them when it comes to like
Yeah.
combining all, and I'll own it.
I know
I'll
it's
have a
very
problem
hard.
with it.
And working as a solo is much easier to work as in a band.
Definitely. But what happens is
exciting.
as you grow. But I think as you grow, as we start to grow closer as a band, you can. I think you can start to hear like, okay, this would sound good if we did this, and you start to be able to trust other people's input. You know, and I think the last album, the first album, Deen, you know, had a little bit of it, but I would say for the Not Afraid to Stand Alone really had a lot of collaborations that I saw kind of really made like, even the song Not Afraid to Stand Alone, like Abdul Malik had that written straight up. He had it finished. He's this.
I was about to ask you about it. I'm Not Afraid to Stand Alone has a
Go on,
story
tell-
behind
tell-
it.
But yeah, well, I'll just tell you. Well, okay, well, this is the kind of story. So he had it, but like a lot of
Who's he?
Abdul Malik. He wrote. He had chorus. He had 2 verses ready to go and a rap to it. He was like, we just going to get on like and sing backup and stuff like that, or we could sing a part that he wrote. But then Josh comes in and was like, and Abdul Malik had wrote it like there was all about high school kids. One was a girl in high school, and one was a boy in high school, and then, of course, the girl's always the hero in our stories.
Yes, Aziza.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so what happened later on, Josh comes on the phone one night, he said, what if we make it a single mother?
Yeah, it was really
And then
wonderful.
that changes the
But
dynamic.
I don't know
completely.
why I felt there is certain story for a certain woman behind it, because it
So
was
maybe
it was
ask her.
such touchy. Single mother raising children, and now she's a Muslim.
Right. Well, now we're getting some real off the scene. But yeah, I was raised by a single mom,
Yeah.
and even though I'm the youngest of 5 of my mother's children, when I was raised, it was just me and my older sister. So it was 2 children, and then I have 2 boys as well. So I knew the struggle of single parents, and I thought that would be a good piece of that. And we got some feedback from that too, from a lot of sisters who were like, I've been in that situation where I'm at the interview.
Yeah. It was really wonderful. It's really touching.
There's a lot of women who are like, that's me. They'll
Yeah.
say that.
Yeah.
Straight up down. They're like,
Actually,
I
what
don't
happened in
agree
the
that
3
is my
cases
story.
you showed, the whole cases you showed, even Rick Muhammad.
You know what the funny thing? That's my brother that plays that in the video. That's my younger brother.
That
And
he was wearing all these things.
Yeah, the football. No, the funny thing is, that wasn't his story at first, because he was in high school. He was a top football player. He won championship for his school. So he owned his high school. Okay, teachers like, whatever, Tariq, come on, you can do whatever you want to do. You're good. But
His
then
name
when
is
he got
Tariq
to
as
college,
well?
yeah, his name's Tariq. But when he got to college, that was his story. His story was this guy now, because when
It's true story.
It's a true story now for him that he's
turned into
Muslim.
a true
It became his story, and now it means afterwards, because in high school he was this big player, but he gets to college, he's starting all over again, and he's the only Muslim kid on his team, and a lot of people. What's this all about, this Muslim thing? And, and he's living through that, having to fast while he's living it now. And that's what he told me too himself. He's saying that now that's my story, really my story in this song.
So we now.
Tell us that.
When
we just found this
4Shbab television.
Only
Exclusive.
Yeah, this is
4Shbab.
very good for promo, by the way.
How we doing on the?
No, I don't love to watch.
I keep trying to look.
Okay. Well, when you'd like to move?
I need to be there at 5. We got some youth that are playing basketball. I'm going to referee and coordinate it. And
And Abdul Malik
I have thing starts at 6.
at 6. Okay, so
And I'm fired, so you're good. So we're clear. Hired at 4Shbab.
you guys hired over there?
The English speaker over there already.
so I can tell you what Joshua can go,
Okay.
and we can continue maybe for 30 minutes, and then we can go to look to see Joshua, and then continue with Abdul Malik.
Okay.
And part of that, I got to get clearance through Rizwan Jaka with the cameras coming in and everything. So,
Oh yeah, please, yeah, if you can do so.
Okay.
Shabab, y'all be good.
He'll be back.
4Shbab. You want to say something like?
I am not afraid to stand alone. I am not afraid to stand alone. If Allah's by my side, I am not afraid to stand alone. Everything will be alright. I am not afraid to stand alone. Gonna keep my head up high. I'm not afraid to stand alone. If Allah's by my side, everything will be alright. Gonna keep my head up high.
Single mother raising her children, and now she's a Muslim. Started praying and wearing a headscarf. It was a healing for her heart, struggling with no one to lean on. But with prayer she would be strong. Had a job that she dreamed of. Close by, great pay, she was in love. They brought her in, told her she's the #1 pick. You got the job, but you gotta lose the outfit. It's a tough position that you put me in, cause I've been struggling with my 2 children. But I continue looking for a job again. My faith and my religion, I would never bend.
I am not afraid to stand alone. I am not afraid to stand alone. If Allah's by my side, I am not afraid to stand alone. Everything will be alright. I am not afraid to stand alone. Gonna keep my head up high. I'm not afraid to stand alone. If Allah's by my side, everything will be alright. Gonna keep my head up high.
Not afraid to stand alone. If Allah's by my side, everything will be alright. Gonna keep my head up high.
Peer pressure, they were insisting, and I was resisting. Some days I felt I was giving, just wanted to fit in. I know when I'm praying and fasting, they be teasing and laughing. So I call on my Lord for the power, for the strength every day, every hour. One day there's a new Muslim teacher, single mom and the people respect her. Just seeing the strength I get stronger. They can break my will no longer. You don't see me sweating when they jones cracking. Never see me cursing when my pants sagging. I ain't never running, yours still standing. I ride with the Lord to the very end.
I am not afraid to stand alone. I am not afraid to stand alone. If Allah's by my side, I am not afraid to stand alone. Everything will be alright. I am not afraid to stand alone. Gonna keep my head up high. I'm not afraid to stand alone. If Allah's by my side, everything will be alright. Gonna keep my head up high.
I'm a tough one who can bear their blows. The rest play dumb, they don't dare say no. Scared of being shunned by the peers they know, but I ain't gonna run, I ain't scared no more. These sisters be resolute, never stress when the rest say they buzzing cute, and they get the respect of the other youth. Come best with the dress, you know that's the truth. These sisters are strong, gotta hand it down. So me, I'm a brother, gotta stand my ground. I ain't gonna shudder when the gang's around. Peer pressure, whatever, it's my planet now. Others may fall, I'ma hold my own. With the help of Allah, I'll be strong as stone. And I'ma be brave, let Islam be shown, cause you know I ain't afraid to stand alone.
When we just 4Shbab television.
Only
Exclusive.
Yeah, this is very good for promo, by the way.
How we doing on the?
No, I don't love to watch. I can tell you what Joshua can go,
Okay.
and we can continue maybe for 30 minutes, and then we can go to look to see Joshua.
Shabab, y'all be good.
He'll be back.
4Shbab. You want to say something like?
Now we can move on after this history and historical story of Native Deen, that I'm going to ask you very important questions, and some very embarrassing questions. Yes.
What was the other ones?
No, not embarrassing, because me like you, I'm also always facing such questions, and I know that
The tough ones.
that, yeah, yeah. For example, the music thing. You don't use music. What for? Or do you use it?
We don't use.
So see,
Yeah, like blowing instruments and
I think for a while, especially when Minna Raps kind of started, we kind of went on the track that they were on, and Minna Raps was like, we're only using percussion instruments only because because of, a lot of people's opinion, only percussion, no wind and string instruments. I mean, we feel differently about we subscribe to different opinions, that say it's more about the content and the intentions behind what's going on than the instrumentation. But we felt that we wanted to keep it at least so far, we've been feeling that we want to keep it accessible to all these different people, because there's still people who are like, we love what you're doing, but you guys use music, you know, or so you can't please everyone. But we thought we'd have a large amount of people by doing it this way, and as long as the music still sounds good. But still, like I said, but growing up, or our own musical taste, you know, definitely. I mean, I'm learning playing different instruments and stuff, and it actually helps with composition. But again, what we've been doing is to try to make it as accessible as possible to, I guess, the largest amount of people, and making sure it does sound good, and make sure that it sounds.
You don't feel this is
empty.
a kind of limitation to you?
Personally, I think it actually helps with creativity, because for one, it gives us a unique sound that I feel that people have learned to recognize. Okay, Native Deen, they're going to use percussion instruments, basically anything that people hit. So we'll use even things like steel drum. A steel drum actually has melody to it, or marimba that has melody to it. And what we've found is actually other musicians have taken to this same kind of concept. You know, anything that you can hit. You know, now as again we say is that we kind of ascribe to. We don't necessarily believe that if you listen to something, a wind and string instrument, if an artist uses a wind and string instrument, then that person is doing something haram. It's just something that we want to be able, our work to spread about the most amount of people, you know, and people are more comfortable, especially on stage. Especially on stage, we find that people are a lot more comfortable seeing drums than they are seeing other instruments. So, but it's changing. Things change, you know.
Yeah, and I mean, you're starting to see a lot of it change. I mean, I can remember as a kid, like you said, like even, you know, what Josh is doing like that, people were like, stand still behind the podium and read it as poetry. And you're like, what are you talking about?
I'm
you know,
not afraid to stand up.
Exactly, that's what they wanted. They wanted me to read my lyrics. A single mother was raising her children, and now she's a Muslim. You know, that's what they wanted, and we're seeing a lot of that change. We're seeing artists like a Sammy Yusuf or Dawood Warnsby and other people that, you know, we perform with and are friends of ours.
Yeah, you shared one of the clips with the Zayn Beka and Dawood.
Yeah, well, Zayn's still percussion only, but even he recently released something that was, not all percussion. He was featured on a track that wasn't all percussion, but again, like I said, we'll see how things are growing and moving and stuff like that. I mean, at this point, that's how Native Deen is rolling. You know, that's how, as a band, we've kind of locked in.
Here comes an important question: what's your goal from forming a band, and what are you trying to do here? Is that just for art?
Yeah, that's the question. What are you guys trying to do here? That's the one.
Well, I think what we would say, we have kind of two goals. We want to inspire the Muslim youth in all over the world. You know, a lot of them, they feel down. They're not proud to be Muslims, especially Muslims in the West. You know, who grow up. We want them to feel proud about their religion, and we want them to give them an alternative to some quality alternative music. But I think another very important goal is actually spreading, letting people learn about Islam. You know, whether they're Muslims, whether they're not Muslims.
Your target is Muslims, or
in the past, I would say it's been Muslim. It's been Muslim. But there are a lot of non-Muslims that listen to it and they enjoy it. I know people specifically who are not Muslim, and they listen to it, and they listen to it a lot, and they enjoy it, and it gives them a perspective of what's in the head of a Muslim American, an American Muslim who's here, growing up, a youth who's growing up, and they can see the perspective of Muslims. So that's very important to us.
Yeah.
Letting people.
And you know what? Now I'm not an anchor, I'm just sharing with you. You know, this gave you some kind of remarkable advantage, because you are speaking about certain issues which are really important. one of my criticism for Munshideen and Arab world that they put themselves in a certain corner. They just think about madih, and 99% of their work in madih. But your work was really remarkable. You're speaking about certain issues like I'm not first stand alone, good deeds, intentions. It's really issues that we can discuss it through art. Can we consider your art kind of da'wah?
Well, I think it's definitely at some level.
This phone is making problem to you? The phone is vibrating. Is it making problem to you? Okay. You can just put vibration off. So can we consider this kind of art is da'wah? Or you put that in your mind?
I think at a certain level, we've grown up here in the U.S., we've always kind of like felt that everything you do is a da'wah of some type. By the way you deal with your children in public, people are looking at you a certain way. If the way you interact with a guy who is serving you a meal, that everything we do at a certain level is da'wah, or because people are telling you like, yeah, that Muslim guy, he just totally like cut me off at the line and disrespected me, and I couldn't, he was too fast, he wasn't listening to me or whatever. Or it can be that, man, this guy, like, what is it about him that, in the midst of all this madness, look at his behavior, he didn't lose his temper once. Or in the middle of all this, he has nothing, but for some reason he has peace inside of him. What is it, And so we feel like every aspect, not just this music, but this music can be definitely a very powerful tool, because like I said, for many times back in the day, people had like, if they wanted to learn about Islam, they had to go to a masjid maybe here, or maybe they had to, they read a pamphlet that maybe they didn't really have access to, or maybe they were scared to even come to a masjid because they didn't think that, well, maybe I'm not dressed right, or maybe I don't know how to talk to them. But here is something that is familiar to them, hip-hop music or just American music. You say, man, this sounds like, but they're saying something way different than I haven't heard before, or they have a message in this thing. What? Oh my God! So it speaks to them, and it does that. It does da'wah in that sense. And at the same time, I just want to add, like, I guess it is. I mean, it's something that we love, or I mean, definitely I know I love. I mean, to express myself in this way. And when it comes out, I want to express what's on my heart. And a lot of times, it is the things that I'm dealing with as growing as a Muslim. Trying to do what's right, asking Allah for forgiveness. Things that you see on TV that have affected you. If you ask me, there's no topic. Every topic can be dealt with. It's all about adab. It's all about how we approach it and how we talk about it. We can talk about every topic under the sun, but we have to have some respect level, and we have to have some etiquette about it. And
if you can speak about any topic, why you call it Islamic? Why not just human values? What's the difference between amana under the Islamic umbrella and the amana as a human value?
Well, I think that's where I think that's how we're growing. Because we started to hear like messages from like people like Yusuf Islam, and he's like, when he became Muslim, he had all these people who were following him in a certain way. They looked at Cat Stevens talking about peace train, talking about things in an environment and about love and the way we treat people and being against war and wanting all these different things, and then becoming Muslim, it kind of cut that line, and he was like, I can't do that. There's a lot of people who still need to hear these messages, and we need to make it open for everyone to receive. And I think we're trying to do that more with our work, that there's definitely going to be songs that are apparent, and like you're going to know that this is a Muslim group. You're going to know it, and that was the one thing that some people really like about Native Deen. We're not going to hide it. We're Muslim. Deal with it.
Yeah, but my question.
At the same time, we will have songs that will that could appeal to people who aren't Muslim, because it speaks to them at a human values level of wanting to be generous.
Well, my question is that usually some people, there's a big debate here. some people say there's nothing called Islamic art and Christian art because art is a universal language. So what defines you? What makes you defined as an Islamic group or Islamic art or Islamic music?
I guess.
I'm sorry, I'm gonna jump in. It's usually the people who put you in those boxes than the artist himself.
You didn't claim that we are an Islamic group.
I think
you called yourself Native Deen, come on.
Native Deen, but for us, these are terms that we use anyway. Deen, I don't think, like, especially here, oftentimes, especially with English language, like, when you say words like Deen after a while and you lost so much, in my head, I'm not thinking I'm speaking Arabic anymore. I'm speaking this language that I grew up with anyway.
Yeah.
There's so much parts of English language that is French and German,
especially
and all
also
these
when it comes to Islamic terms.
So for us,
you said it as Arabic.
So I think at times we've used the term nasheed just because, okay, that's what everybody else called it. But I didn't grow up with a nasheed. I grew up listening to hip-hop music. And if there was a hip-hop song that was Christian based, that was talking about Christian values.
You don't define yourself as an Islamic group.
I think...
Well, we're Muslims, and we're proud to be Muslim. And we
I know it's not easy because I myself am facing this problem. A lot of people asking me, are you an Islamic channel?
Right.
I said, we are promoting the values of Islam, but Islamic or not, I'm not the one who defined myself.
Right. Are we I guess you could say, is our goal to be like a missionary and go around and convert people? Is that our goal? Our goal is mainly to spread the message, and and to let people hear it. If they, if Allah guides them, that's what Allah is. We're Muslim. We're proud to be Muslim, and we're not. In our songs, we say we're proud to be Muslim. We're not always talking about, you must become Muslim or Islam is the best way. That's, maybe we might say something that comes from our heart. We really love Islam. We love.
When you speak about absolute value, like amana, for example, you think it's different when I speak about amana linked with the belief, like amana is what Allah ordered us to be. Is it different than speaking about amana as obsolete value that you should be amana, you should do amana because it's good? You think there's a difference?
Well, go ahead.
No, I think that your good deeds stem from, and this is a debate going on now. Can't we just be good for goodness sake?
Yes. Can we?
And we don't have to be, we don't have to worry about God or that type of thing. And we have to respect all opinions. As Muslims, la ikraha fi din. There's no compulsion.
Yeah, I'm asking for your opinion. I'm not asking about what do you think about us.
We feel that there is a connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, with God, that helps guide your actions and helps you become a better person. Like, for example, why would I fast? Why would I keep myself away from food if I didn't have a creator that I was trying to please, And in keeping away from food, I'm learning about how the hungry people, and I feel for the hungry people. And then
There's a house phone?
And then there's a house phone.
It's okay. It's an answer. If you'd like to answer it, it's okay.
No. I can turn it off if you want.
It's okay.
But let me wait till it goes.
No, I think his sound is okay. Okay.
So basically, what I was saying is that so basically, this guidance from Allah gives us. Why would I want to be it's my daughter. Sorry.
Yeah, so you can listen to the message. I think you can answer her.
But
no.
She does what I do. That's when I call here and nobody picks up. I'm like, pick up the mic. It's me.
So till he comes, what do you think about this
if
issue?
you ask me, I think it's like everything with different levels. And first off,
is his voice is because we have two voices now.
No, I can't hear it.
Okay.
But I look at it. Personally, I look at it like this. our Prophet Muhammad ﷺ came for a message for all mankind.
Yeah.
It was for everyone that this is proper. This is proper living. You know, you should fast. You should give. You should pray. You should be generous.
No, but you are speaking about something just connected to Islam. I'm speaking about values.
No, but wait a minute. Now, what I'm saying is this. Now, on top of that, now there's this general terms of, like you said, people can generally fast and they'll be good for them, and they can generally be. Generous and give charity and be kind to their neighbors. But then when you connect that with, it goes back to like songs like Intention. You can take that as at that level, or you can elevate it even.
Yes.
Now the elevation is when you connect it to, you know, like what you said, we connect that purpose with Allah. You know, so when we connect that purpose with Allah, then it elevates that. It elevates that task from just being just a general good, but it even like. It elevates it even higher, because the purpose now is pleasing the Creator.
When you make a song, when you go on the theater, on the stage and make a song, do you feel that you are doing something related to Allah?
I think we're doing something. Yeah, at times, yeah, definitely, because I know what the message. I know what these messages are doing for people, because we talk to people afterwards. And we get the email and we talk to people who say that, you know, what this song has done for my life. You know, what, like you said, like Standing Alone, there's so many women who will say that is my story. This woman who wasn't able to have this job because she looked different than other people, or because she wore hijab or whatever. Or even stronger things. There was a guy who was telling me his kid had an operation on his legs. And he wasn't able to walk, and he was always in pain. And while they were in the hospital, the thing that would soothe him was hearing this, "I'm not afraid to stand alone."
It's really marvelous.
And now, you know, and he's going through this operation so he can stand again. So it's, I mean, I see the benefit in it. And whatever we do, we hope is pleasing to Allah.
Before you go on the stage, do you stand just for a minute to revise your intentions?
Definitely, every time.
Yeah, here comes the important questions.
Every time.
As an artist, your being good or bad comes from the impression of the people, right? I mean, if
you're a good artist or a bad artist.
Yeah, I mean, if you came out on the stage and your performance were bad or good, how are you going to make it?
No,
to know.
that's me.
You will know it from the reaction of the people. If they say, "Oh, wow, woo," you will find this is bad. If they clapped a lot, if they applause, you will find that this is good, right?
Not always. Especially in Muslim, not always. And first off,
especially in Muslim
in the Muslim crowds,
a lot of
it's
times
very opposite. They'll be sitting